start of it, in old New York. The audience sat up. This was real emotion. This was talent. If we can make it there, we'll make it anywhere. The cast roared. As the final note rang out, the applause was thunderous. They hadn't saved Mel's script, but they had saved their dignity. Book E, The Pilgrim's Regress. Chapter 4, The Turkey Invasion. November in Phoenix was a deception. The calendar said autumn, but the thermometer still threatened summer. Inside Mel's diner, however, the temperature was rising for a different reason. "I think dunking is disgusting," Mona Spivak declared, watching Mel drown a donut in his coffee cup. "What an awful thing to do to a dear little donut." Alice leaned against the counter, watching her mother. Mona had arrived from New Jersey for Thanksgiving, bringing with her a suitcase full of guilt and a respiratory infection she treated like a badge of honor. "Well, ain't donuts 3 days old?" Jolene asked. "Mel's doing it a favor to put it out of its misery." Mel glared. "Alice, you're asking for trouble. That's like taking raw meat away from a grizzly bear," he muttered, referring to Mona's presence. "I want you to have a nice big appetite for my wonderful Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow," Alice told him, ignoring the jab. "Mel's invited." Finally, Mel grunted. "I'm giving Alice my stale bread for stuffing." "That's a real sacrifice for Mel," Alice whispered to Vera. "Usually he serves it. The holidays were always a battlefield. But this year, the enemy had brought heavy artillery. Mona hadn't just come to visit. She had come to conquer. "I brought a turkey to cook," Mona announced later at Alice's apartment, unveiling a bird the size of a toddler. "You brought a turkey from New Jersey?" Alice asked, incredulous. "Not just a turkey." "Sam's turkey," Mona corrected reverently. "Sam's my butcher. And every year, he saves me his biggest bird." "Well, Ma, that's wonderful of you. But I have a 22-pounder already," Alice said, trying to hold her ground. Mona sniffed. "Oh, this is a 28-pounder. But listen, don't think you have to use it. I mean, even though I dragged this turkey half across the country, I almost got a hernia. The guilt trip was precision engineered." "Ma, we'll use your turkey," Alice sighed, defeated. But the invasion didn't stop at poultry. Mona began to colonize the kitchen. "Try this," Alice said, offering a spoon of her new stuffing recipe. "I think it's delicious." "I noose. I think it's delicious." Mona tasted it and grimaced. "I never taste anything I can't identify," she said. "We always have my chestnut stuffing on Thanksgiving." "I know, but I wanted to try a new one this year," Alice argued. The next morning, Alice walked into the kitchen to find a bowl of chestnut stuffing waiting. "Why do I think that's chestnut stuffing?" Alice asked dangerously. "Oh, I couldn't sleep last night," Mona said innocently. "And I couldn't find anything else to do. After I cleaned up your silverware drawer. I guess it doesn't bother you that most of your forks don't match," Mona added. Alice closed her eyes. "They match the knives and spoons that don't match." Chapter 5, The Black Jello Incident. Thanksgiving dinner was a surreal tableau. The 28-pound turkey sat in the center of the table like a prehistoric beast. Guests included Greg Chandler, Alice's boyfriend, Mel, the waitresses, and Tommy. "I'm thankful that I have a very understanding, wonderful mother who won't be angry when I tell her that I got a D on my biology midterm," Tommy announced during grace, rushing the words. "You got a D?" Alice snapped, her eyes popping open. Mona, however, had bigger news. "I am also thankful that I have a nice house in New Jersey and that interest rates have dropped," Mona beamed. "Now it'll be easy to sell my house, move to Phoenix, and live with my only daughter." The sound of cutlery hitting china was deafening. "Alice, what do you mean you're carrying the live with me?" Mel asked, confused. "I'll come stay with you, so you'll never be alone again," Mona continued, oblivious to Alice's panic. "I mean I can have Tommy's room." Greg leaned over. "Well, personally, I don't think that moving in is a good idea," he said. "Why not?" Mona challenged. "Because familiarity breeds contempt," Greg said wisely. The dinner dissolved into chaos. Alice dragged her mother into the kitchen. "Ma, we have to talk right now," Alice said. "Why?" "I know you're upset," Mona said. "You're making me crazy," Alice exploded. "Ever since you've come here, you have to have everything your own way. You rearranged my silverware drawer, you force-fed Greg." Back at the table, Mel was eyeing the dessert. "I've never seen black jello before," he noted, poking a dark, gelatinous mold. "Well, what else could you use for a pilgrim's hat?" Vera asked happily. By the end of the night, Alice and Mona were not speaking. But the next morning, guilt to the engine that powered the Spivak family kicked in. Mona sat on the sofa, humming. "I would like to apologize," Mona told Alice. "I don't say this much, but I was wrong." Alice softened. "Ma, but listen to me," Mona pressed. "What kind of a responsible daughter would I be if I don't take care of my mother in her twilight years?" "Twilight? I haven't even hit mid-afternoon yet," Alice laughed. "I can't sell that house," Mona finally admitted, her voice breaking. "My mother used to make notches on our wall too," Mel interjected unexpectedly. "But yours went sideways." The tension broke. Mona would go back to New Jersey, but not before threatening to return for Christmas. Bukai. The Matriarch's Rebound. Chapter 6. The Coyote Mascot. Peace was a fleeting commodity at Mel's diner. No sooner had Mona departed than another matriarch arrived, bringing a different kind of storm. Carrie Sharples, Mel's mother, burst into the diner with the energy of a woman half her age. She had been traveling Mexico City, Acapulco, and she had a secret. "I got a quickie divorce in Tijuana," Carrie announced casually. Mel nearly dropped a tray. "Mom, you got a divorce? But I thought that you and Robbie were so happy together." "Robbie's gambling really started bugging me," Carrie explained. "He even gambled away the money I made in my cookbook, so I gave him an ultimatum. Give up gambling or give up me." "I feel great," she insisted, too loudly. "I feel free. Liberated. I'm on top." But beneath the bravado, Carrie was hurting. She spent the first night at Mel's apartment talking non-stop to avoid the silence. She talked all night long, Mel complained the next morning, wearing his sleeping bag like a cocoon. "I zipped her out at 4 a.m. Alice, ever the empath, saw the pain. She asked Earl, the basketball coach, and a regular customer, to spend some time with Carrie. "Maybe she'd like to go to the game I'm coaching this afternoon," Earl suggested. It seemed like a harmless idea. It was not. Carrie didn't just watch the game, she consumed it. She returned to the diner transformed. "The Coyotes have already beat the Bears, the Lions and the Wolves." Mel marveled. "We've been on a real winning streak since Carrie became our mascot." Carrie was leading cheers, wearing a costume, and unfortunately, falling in love. "I think she's got the hots for me," Earl whispered to Alice in panic. "My mother doesn't get the hots," Mel denied, horrified. "Frankly, I think she's in love with me," Earl insisted. "She just wants to spend all her time with me." Alice found Carrie in the locker room, dressed in full coyote regalia. "Carrie, could I speak to you for a minute?" Alice asked. "You don't like my outfit?" Carrie asked, twirling. "Carrie, have you familiar with the expression, love is a two-way street?" Alice began gently. "Sure," Carrie said. "Well, sometimes you turn down what you think is a two-way street, but it turns out that it's really a one-way street." Alice stumbled through the metaphor. "Earl doesn't go for me?" Carrie realized, her face falling. "He likes you very, very much as a friend," Alice promised. Carrie sat down on the bench, pulling off her furry ears. "I guess inside of a coyote costume, it's hotter than hell," she sighed. "I was just on the rebound from Robbie. Hell is ma." "Poor." She looked up at Alice. "I may be a broken woman, but above all else, I'm a coyote." Bokif. The Worm Baron. Chapter 7. The Silver Rolls Royce. Spring brought the desert bloom, and a silver Rolls Royce that parked directly across from the diner, gleaming like a mirage. "Wow, is that a beauty?" Mel drooled, pressing his face against the glass. "I should be behind the wheel of that baby." A man stepped out, charming, tailored, and radiating danger. He walked into the diner with a smile that could melt butter. "Howdy, I'm Jonas Honeycutt, and I'm here to see my baby sister.